Three. All right, we got Lynde Turner today, Blue Sapphire in the company. Powerful woman, wonderful family. I love her kids a little bit more than her. I'm just kidding. So,
I don't doubt that.
how awesome was that video that I shared just recently? Yeah, it's another experience of this side of the profession most people won't see because they won't last long enough, right? So, because they don't try long enough. But you know, a lot of this will be a lot of people's first time meeting Lynde Turner and watching this video to get to know you. First, tell them a little bit about Lynde, your background, where you're from, and really just how you found network marketing, how long you've been in.
Yeah. So I'm Lynde, like Ricky said. I live in a super teeny tiny small town in Texas. It doesn't even have a stoplight, y'all. Like not even a stoplight. And I have been a nurse for the past 15 years. I met my husband in nursing school. I was working 3 jobs because my parents couldn't afford to put me through nursing school. So I did it all on my own. So I wouldn't have to have student loan debt, which was a massive blessing at such a young age to know what debt is and that I wanted to avoid it and to avoid kind of those chains. So I got out of nursing school. I worked my butt off to pay off everything. We ended up getting married. We have 2 young kids. We have a 5 and a 3-year-old, Hugh and Hank, which I take it as a compliment that they love you more, Ricky, or that you love them more, because it means that I'm a pretty darn good mom because they are the light of my life. But I was a big network marketing hater. I'll be honest. I had a horrible connotation of the industry. Everyone that I knew was not successful. I didn't have parents that were successful in network marketing. I had heard all the horror stories that you're going to spend a bunch of money and then you're going to waste a bunch of money and you're never going to get anything out of it. So I had a bad connotation with it. I had a lot of bad experiences from people that were super salesy, that didn't care about me, that just wanted my money, right? All the things that people tell you. And I'll be honest, I went to work in nursing. I ended up working in administration. If you guys know Kathy Havel, she was my boss back then. That's how we came to be besties. Not in the beginning, but she and I kind of started having talks about, she had an experience where her boys were much older than mine, and she'd been doing it for a lot longer. And we were realizing we had zero freedom. I famously tell this story on all the Zooms that I do, but my youngest, Hank, was 3 years, he's 3 years old now. When I was pregnant with him, I was working 70 to 80-hour weeks, if not more. I've always been a hard worker. I ended up going into labor, and I literally was in labor in the hospital working on my laptop. I worked my entire maternity leave because there was nobody that did my job. I was the only one. I went back to work at 5 weeks old, when he was 5 weeks. I missed both my boys' first steps. I missed so much. And there was one moment, and it was the moment when the hospital that I worked for was going bankrupt, and they were facing multiple risks, which is reductions in force. And my job was threatened. For the first time in my nursing career, I was almost out of work and I had no plan B, y'all. And all of these things started going through my head. Like, what was I thinking? I put all my eggs in one basket, and this basket's got a hole in it and the bubble's about to burst. And really, I just started looking at what else could we do? I looked at, starting my own business. I had no experience. I looked at, starting a home health agency. I had no clue where to start. And Cassie, of all people, introduced me to network marketing at the same time Lauren did. At the same time, these 2 powerful women in my life introduced me, and I told Lauren no for about 12 months. Because again, I had such a negative connotation. And the takeaway from this for me was would you wait for somebody like me for 12 months? Well, Lauren obviously did. She ended up blowing up in her first company. She and my husband had went to high school together. That's how I knew her. And that FOMO, that fear of missing out, was really real. I ended up joining at the end of that kind of blow up explosion, had a lot of success in a very quick time. And it changed everything for me, from going to no plan B to significant depression and anxiety about what the future was. And knowing that I was missing something in my life, that I was missing my kids, that I was not the mom that I wanted to be, that I was gone, and all my life revolved around was work for a hospital that was about to dump me like a bad habit. I just knew that there was something else in my future. And thank goodness I was brave enough and strong enough and didn't care what people thought enough to say yes to network marketing.
So how long now, there's a couple questions. So how long now have you been in network marketing?
About 3 years. I've been with Paseo around 18 months, but about 3 years total. I had probably been experiencing, like I always was one of those that would buy for my friends. So I was one of those like kidnappers, you know, if I wanted makeup, I'm like, sign me up, get me the deal, you know, I'll do whatever. And I've always done that, even in my teens. You know, I've always tried to support small friends and small businesses than support Walmart or Target or Costco. So I'd experienced network marketing. I bought tons of things, but actually believing that it could change my life, probably within the last 3 years.
So there's something interesting here. You know, Lauren made a ton of money in her first company, right? And a lot of people sit and watch and watch and watch. What was your thought process? What made you, I mean, to sit there and watch one of your friends have that much success? I'm sure you watched for a while, right? Before you finally gave in.
Yeah.
It was probably pride and ego a little bit. What was it?
A lot. Number one, it was, man, she's just doing it because she's like convincing all those people. You know, the first thing in most people's mind is judgy. Yeah. I've become a lot better person with judgments on other people and really working on myself.
It's natural. You think that person's having success because they have something you don't, when really they're just taking someone the same opportunity that you would be taking them.
And I think the final thing was, it got to a point where I can only like downgrade myself for long enough until I'm finally like, that's BS. I can do anything I put my mind to. Mm-hmm. If she can do it, I can do it. And mm-hmm. and at that point, once that decision is made, it's kind of all over.
Well, I mean, that's how I got in this profession first. Is my wife put me on the phone with someone making $50,000 a week, and I was like, this redneck from Lubbock, Texas can make $50,000 a week. I can make $50,000 a week too. And you have to quit evaluating the opportunity or whatever your negative perception is and start evaluating what the opportunity can do for you in your life. And that's what you saw, what I saw. If I can make $50,000 from my home or anywhere in the world, which is key, because I was, you know, centrally located and landlocked in Jacksonville, Florida for 20 years in business and really never grew out of that. You know, so for me, when I saw this opportunity, the potential of income, but the passive income, the residual income, but also the ability to expand your marketplace way outside of your reach is huge. And if people really could take their emotional negative sunglasses off and really see what can be attained in this profession like you and I have, I believe all of them would do it, because they're all looking for some kind of freedom. And for me, as a traditional business owner for 21 years, I haven't seen a vehicle that can grow this fast with such amazing people, but also give you everything you want from traditional business with actually removing you more. So it's been powerful. Yeah. So you fast forward a little bit, and then Lauren says, I'm out. And like, did she call you? And what did you say then?
I was one of the first people that she called when she made the decision on Paseo. So I had a lot of success in that first company, but it really just didn't feel right. I know that there's a lot of people that will watch this that kind of understand what I'm talking about. If they've ever been exposed to a job or a boss or a business, it just didn't feel right. And so I had already taken a big step back, and I was kind of waiting for another opportunity. We got into flipping houses. We got into, you know, one of the things that I think changed me, because I never had entrepreneurs in my family. I never had business owners in my family. I was told from a very young age, you grow up, you get a good education, you make A's, don't you dare make less than a 98, and you get a college degree, and then you work, and maybe you can retire. That was my mindset. So one thing that changed everything for me was I started studying entrepreneurship and success. One of the first books I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, and he praised network marketing. And I was like, whoa, who praises network marketing? I thought everybody hated network marketing. And it changed a lot, right? And that's when I started to learn what the difference was between residual and passive and all these different kind of income streams. And I was like, I will never have just one income stream ever again. I will always diversify. So fast forward, I was looking for other stuff. I was like, I really want to grow my portfolio. I want to invest in things. And lo and behold, Lauren calls me up. This time it was a call, not a Facebook messenger. So this is a way better story. But she called me up and she said, I found something that's crazy. They have CBD. I know you're struggling with anxiety. At that time, I had switched jobs. I was having 2 to 3 panic attacks a week. I was in horrible depression and anxiety just from the stress of the job that I had. I did quality and patient safety. I was a patient safety officer. Very stressful. And she's like, I know that you're struggling. You and I are having the same issues. I found this CBD and it's liposomal. And y'all, I did a quick Google search because I was like, I've heard that before. And I think it took all of 26 seconds. And I pulled out my wallet. I'm like, here's my credit card. Just sign me up for the big thing. Whatever the big thing is, just sign it up for me. Just make sure I get some CBD, whatever. But it's kind of funny because in the first month of trying the product, I had no intention of doing the business. I had really gotten in my head that I was done with the lotions and potions and just really wanted to look for other ways to make an income. And Cassie blew up. Cassie took this. She was she was the first person that I signed up. Her story is so funny because she came to me and she was like, are y'all doing this Waseo thing? And I'm like, no. I'm not doing anything. I'm taking these products. They're pretty legit amazing. I haven't had any panic attacks. I'm loving them. Will is using them. If y'all don't know, my husband's a Marine veteran. He did 3 tours in Iraq. He dealt with PTSD. He's loving it. We're loving it, but I'm not doing this business. And she's like, well, I am. And she got in touch with Lauren, and the rest is history. She worked with you really close in the beginning. And one day she and I met up for lunch and I told her how miserable I was at my job and she called me a straight idiot. I'm pretty sure you could put that in quotations. And the rest is history. We started running together and it's been crazy ever since.
Well, I mean, so you started in Waseo and you were still a full-time nurse, right? And you started to do this very part-time, right? And right out of the gate, you had success doing it part-time, right? What's been your biggest check since you started with the company?
In a week, close over $5,000.
And was that part-time or full-time?
That was right after I went full-time. So within the first few months, I took kind of the bull by the horns. Us and DWB went gung-ho. And I made a little over $30,000 in 3 months. And my husband, you all know Will, was like, you hate your job. You're absolutely miserable. You never see the kids. Let's save money on childcare. And why don't you retire? Which I had so much anxiety about. I never intended on this retiring me. It was, if I could make $1,000 extra a month, that was the goal. Never thought that this would retire me. And so I've been full-time at home with my boys since June of 2019.
Well, think about that. I mean, where in any traditional business you can start and do it part-time and then average $10,000 take home a month in your first 3 months, right? It just shows you the power of the profession, part-time, immediate income from home, lifestyle that you want with your kids, family, whatever freedom you're looking for in your time. And then you went full-time. And really full-time here, it's still part-time, right? You still have a lot of freedom, and to make $30,000 is huge in your first 3 months because most businesses don't make money for the first 2 to 3 years. And that's what I love about this profession. Anyone can get in it and anyone can make immediate income. They can get, and then the domino effect happens. And what I mean by that, as you share this with more and more people, you start to see more and more people impacted in their health, their finances, their relationships too. I mean, their world starts changing in a positive way because, listen, most heart attacks happen on Sunday night, Monday morning, going to a job people hate. I mean, that's a for real number, right? I think it's 80% of heart attacks and 85. Why? Because they're driving or they're thinking about a job they're going to that they can't stand. A lot of people like myself fall in a profession that they think that's going to be different. I climbed the ladder of success, got to it, and I was like, oh, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. You start looking around, but it's all you know. It's all that pays the bills. And this is what I call a way out part-time, and that's very hard to find. You did it. You're an example. And not only that, you've built a massive team. And more importantly, what I'm happy for, and I don't know if it would have happened outside of this, you and Will, came to Christ in this profession. I was there front line, got to see it, and I've seen the transformation in your family, going to church. Let's ask us ourselves this today with Lynde. Do you think that would have happened as fast outside of network marketing?
I don't think a lot of things would have happened outside of network marketing. It changed our entire perspective. When you come from a background like I did, where you don't have mentors like that, you don't have people that are striving to become more, they're settling a lot. And that's no dig on anybody. It's just nobody knew a better way, right? And then literally, my husband, just the change in him. And I don't think any of that would have happened had we not been pushed in a direction. I really think it's a God thing, into a profession that required us become better leaders, better people, better parents, better friends to be successful. What other job out there requires you to become better to match your paycheck? Most jobs just give you a paycheck to show up. And I really think that that's where the world is heading, is a performance-based pay. And let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of people that are out of work when it starts being based on performance. And network marketing just got to it first. They knew that your performance is tied into who you are and who you become, and making sure that you're doing the right things for other people. And every time my business surges and has great success, it's when I remind myself that it is about them and not me. And I don't think I would have been that type of selfless person had it not been for this industry. Because it's not the way I was taught before. I had to relearn a lot of things.
Yeah, finding Christ, and then your husband finding Christ is probably, actually not probably, it's the biggest decision that I've seen you guys make. As a wife, how awesome was it to see your husband make that decision? And I think a lot of it had to do with watching other people in this profession that weren't just churchy, religious people. They were actually loving and kind, and they showed what God and Jesus is about, which is love. So as a wife, how awesome was it to see your husband?
It was amazing. It's been amazing for me. Most people, if they don't know my story, I was raised Roman Catholic. I became atheist when I was a teenager, early young adult. I moved into like the agnostic space probably in my late 20s. But I always felt like maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something out there. And my first Viseo conference, I met, and I think this is where Will had the same experience. I met so many people that were genuinely good people, that there was so much abundance. I think that's the best word for it. So much abundance in their mindset, in their behavior, in the way they speak. You and Francoise, especially in the way that it's not a show. And growing up in the Bible Belt of Texas, so much of religion I felt like was a show, and it wasn't genuine, and it wasn't true. And I know what you did on Friday and Saturday night before you church. So if that's what your behavior is, I'm not listening to you about church, right? And then literally the only conference that Will has been to was January in Orlando. And he got to hear Mylon LaFay. I think that's how you say his name. I convinced him. I was like, just come. This is not like church. This is not what you've ever experienced. And he made a drastic change. And it's been amazing. It's amazing to see the change in our kids. And I think Hugh was already on that path. One of the best things I did, even being a non-believer, was put him into like a Christian day, like a Mother's Day out. And he would come home and ask questions about God and Jesus. And I'm like, don't ask me. I don't know. Let's call somebody. Can we phone a friend?
God's using the kids.
And he did. And it already opened my mind so much. And it opened up Will's mind so much. And it's crazy because we had went to a funeral before we went to convention a few months. If I have a second to tell the story, but Will had to take Hank outside because he had, he's 18 months. He's a crazy person. He like bonks his head on the pew. He starts crying. It's in the middle of the funeral. And this is with Will's dad's family, who he's not really close with. And he went outside with Hank, and he said there was just this moment of stillness and like one of those little leaf, like cyclone things. And he just felt this overwhelming peace come over him. And he and I talked about it on the way home. And I remember literally saying, I think that's God telling you something. And he's like, I don't know about all that. And we go to convention a few months later, and it drastically changed everything. And the community that we've gotten to be a part of, doing Bible studies with Shanna and some of her, colleagues, doing Bible studies with you guys, it's been amazing. My kids are adamant that we say prayer over our food every day. And I love that because, it's just a complete 180. And the things that we're able to teach them now about themselves, because all of the disbelief that I hold in my heart comes from, I believe, not growing up in a full foundation of me being a child of God. That I allowed the enemy way too much to say all those negative things. We all have that negative wheel. And I have learned now that it's okay to just say, no, not today, Satan. You're not getting that in my head. Mm-hmm. And the powerful thing is I can now teach that to my kids. I didn't grow up with that foundation. I've had to struggle. Ricky probably can tell you, Lynde's business goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down with my mindset and how negative I can be about myself. And if I can give anybody any advice, it's find a way to stop that in its tracks. And I love that we're creating that kind of foundation that Will and I did not grow up with in our kids.
Well, listen, here's the same for marriage and people. Most of the time they will disappoint you, but God will not. And the thing about it is, marriages end a lot of times because people look at the spouse to make them happy. And there's only one source that makes us happy, and it's God and Jesus Christ. And when we get our eyes focused on them, then we have on God, then our love perspective changes because that's our source for happiness and love. And then we can give that back out. We are creatures of habit. We want to give love to people if they give it to us in a certain fashion that we want. And a lot of times they can't even give it in the way we need it, way we want it, because of the way we've been programmed. But God can give it the way we need it every single time. And if we keep our eyes on him and we spend time with him, then we're full of his love, and our love is full to give back to other people, which is pretty powerful. What I've seen in you guys has been amazing. That's the part of this profession that I love. So much bigger than a paycheck. It's a community, it's a family, and then it's impact. And for me, it's fulfillment. Building a business for 20 years, I laid in the bed pretty lonely every night and stressed out. Here, I go to bed very easily, but very fulfilled and very happy with a whole bunch of friends. People say, oh, my friends will run from me. Well, I can safely and boldly say I have more friends now than I did before network marketing. And I was, I'm a pretty friendly guy. And I had a lot of friends, but now I have way more. I can go to Texas and I can stay with Lynde and Will anytime. I couldn't say that before. So, so fast forward now, we're looking at a year and a half roughly in Viseo. You're happy. Your family is totally in unity and in a good place. Now you've qualified for Cabo. A lot of your friends are going. What did it mean for you and Will to qualify for Cabo? Was it exciting?
It was huge. It's really funny because we have been sacrificing a lot. I remember sending you a text message and saying, I'm ready for my season of sacrifice. Like, I'm ready. This is my time. And what typically happens at our house is during the day, I do kind of all the stuff. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, my kids go to school, and I do all of the like cooking and cleaning and all of that good stuff. And at night is where the party starts. We do Zooms and we do calls and we do trainings, and most of this business for me is at night, which I love because I have very set boundaries with my kids where I get to actually be present. So when Will gets home, he takes over with the kids. I usually have dinner main, he does dinner. I jump on the computer or the phone and do calls. So for us, we haven't seen each other a lot. We save Friday nights usually for mom and dad time. We try to take a date night every couple of weeks. But a lot of times he doesn't see me except for, he leaves for work early in the morning. #next goal, retire Will. But we don't see each other a lot. So having something to move forward to where it's a lot of mommy and daddy time and like Will and I time was really exciting. And it's funny because he went to bed one night and I told him, I was like, look, I am tired of this hanging over my head. I'm getting this done tonight. And he woke up the next morning at like 1 o'clock in the morning because he had to go. He does construction, commercial construction. So he was doing concrete pours in the middle of the night. He woke up at like 1:30 and I had just now finished all of my stuff. You stayed up with me that whole night. And I'm coming to bed as he's getting up from bed and he's like, so did you have a good night? I'm like, yeah, we're going to Cabo. And so we had like a little dance party whispering.
That's awesome. So them are memories we will never forget inside the profession. And then when people see you there, they realize, oh, there must be something now. Lynde don't have a job. Now she's at home every day. Now she's on an international trip for free with her friends. And then they realize, hey, she's still doing that. And here's the fruit from that. And she's doing it with her husband now. The next step is we're going to retire Will. And then people really be like, wow, she got in this thing and that thing retired her and her husband. And now they travel. Now they're with their kids every day. Listen, we leave this life with the memories make of it. And a lot of that has to do with decisions that we make daily. And are you going to keep doing what you're doing today for the rest of your life? And what kind of experiences are you going to leave this life with? Because you're not taking a U-Haul. You're not taking all that time you put in your job, but you will leave two kind of experiences. One that you do every day, but also the people that are left behind that you had experiences with. And that's super powerful to me that each and every one of the people that watch this has a choice, right? I had a choice. I do construction, make $300,000 to $500,000 a year and keep plugging away and stressed out of my mind and come home mentally shut off. Didn't want to talk to anyone, stressed out, see if anyone's going to pay me on Friday. Most of the time not. So I had a choice. I keep doing this. The definition of insanity, expecting a different result and went a different direction, just like Lynde. So you pretty much did Cabo by really just reaching out to people, following the system, and building your business like each and everybody that's on this Zoom. So there is something to the system, right? If this team has the most qualified for the trip, it's definitely system driven. Excuse me, system driven, but also leadership driven. People that are willing to go out there and work and grow their self. Because a lot of people that are getting on the Zoom, just like yourself, they've been in the profession a while. But it's shown if you stick and stay long enough and follow the system, you're going to keep having success. And that's what you did, right?
Yeah, the system really is key. Whatever, however you're inviting them, it was big for me. One of the biggest things for me was really making a decision because I had been hovering at about, 18 to 20 people for a long time. And, I think with coronavirus and everything that happened, we got really isolated. And
I got on to you.
Yes.
over and over and over.
Ricky will stay on your butt. Even if you just tell him, please help me and stay on my butt, he will. And I'll come back and I'm like, I don't really like you right now, but thanks for doing that.
I remember I kept texting you, Lynde, you're still not doing anything. Lynde, where you at? I don't know what to do. I said, yeah, get out of your head. That's what you need to do. Get to work over and over and over. And here's the thing, you took it and did it.
Yes, this business is 90% mental because the system is so simple. It's so simple that it doesn't make sense to somebody like me that wants to overcomplicate it and overthink it. And if you can just finally make a decision and just say, look, I'm going to do this no matter what, the no matter what takes you into action instead of anxiety. And I put in, I think, 18, 19 people in less than 2 weeks. Like something crazy. Because I finally asked all those people that I've spent money for all these years, this is a good reason why you should be a generous person and help everyone that you should. Because I called in so many favors from people that had told me they wanted to try products or wanted to get started doing something, or that had been my insurance agent for years, or, you know, all the people that I've done business with my whole life, or that I've supported, or that I've bought, you know, how many Scentsy candles do I have in my house that I've never burned? Right? I called favors from all those people and I was bold and I said, look, I could really use your help. I want to go on this trip. Will and I need a vacation. And we're really close and I would love to have your help. And I had so many people that said, yeah, I'd love to help you. It was actually probably one of the best things that I could have done, because being in my own head, thinking that no one needed me, or that I wasn't good enough, or that it wasn't worth it, or that I wasn't worth it, or any of those things that you tell yourself, getting out there and asking people, look, I know I've helped you in the past. If you've ever had, you know, a good feeling about me, would you mind helping me achieve this trip? Mm-hmm. And the overwhelming amount of people that did blew me away. I'm still getting messages. I got a message today, and I've started. So this is my key. If you have mindset issues, this is what I've started doing. I made an album on my phone and I take screenshots. When I have people from other teams reach out to me and say I'm an inspiration, or I have people that are on my team that reach out and say things, or a girl today just told me, I'm so grateful that you gave us a sleep sample, because her husband is sleeping for the first time. She actually, the first time he tried sleep, she didn't sleep, because it was the first time in their like 6-year relationship and marriage that he didn't snore, and she thought he was dying. And so I save those messages. I screenshot it and I save them. So someday, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when my team is tens and hundreds of thousands of people, because it will be, I can go back and say, this is why I did this. These are the people that I helped change your life. It's going to make me teary-eyed. But when I start remembering it's all about them, and helping somebody sleep at night sounds like no big deal, but it gave them a hope. Like, can you imagine waking up every single day and actually feeling rested? And that's the benefit we have. Or, you know, helping people pay their bills in the middle of a pandemic. I have a girl on my team, Candace, who I love to death. Guys, when she hit her big rank, her paycheck was more than 2 months of her salary. And she sent me a text message like, oh my God, Lynde, this is crazy. I'm like, I know, I'm so proud of you. That is why we do this. The collection of memories that I don't think I would ever have in 20, 30 years of nursing. Mm-hmm. That's why I do it.
Well, I can't add anything to that. Only thing I would say is, when it goes from me trying to get someone to sign up to me helping someone and them helping you, it's a synergistic effect, and you can build a massive business. When you want to share your story, but also want to help them, whatever they need in their life, and it goes from you, your head, to your heart, you build a massive business. And it obviously went to your heart, but also after I've seen that you can put 20-something people in 2 weeks, and there's never an excuse for Lynde to build this business. So, hey, this has been a wonderful interview. I pray that everybody watches it. You know, Lynde, my wife and I love you, and Will, Hugh, and Hank. And we're so blessed to have you guys. We're so happy that you're going to ring in the new year with us. And this has been an awesome interview. We love you guys. Thank you for your time.
Love you.
Bye-bye.